Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning. And this is what it's like to go out picking whelks on a wet Monday morning. Now, I've come out a couple of hours late today, which means that the tide is a big tide. But really, I should have been out here at 8 o'clock this morning, and I've come out at 10. So what's happened with me this morning is that I've woken up with a dream. The dream is quite a revelation in its way, and the day is manifesting along the lines of the dream. Now, the dream wasn't a prophecy dream. It didn't say this is what's going to happen today. The dream showed me what's been happening, and small-mindedness and people who are not very open, and fake friendships and fake relationships, and people who torpedo each other. It was largely about my own patterns, what I was seeing, about being so open and having so much ability with empathy that I will sit and listen to people for fucking decades, having empathy for their problems, and listening to all these points of view and comparing notes about who did this and who did that, and what the real intention may have been for somebody, why it is that people don't speak their truth and speak their mind and stand up and do the things they say. And it applies to me too. I find it difficult to do the things I know are right. It's been a great year of revelation. That's what a whelk looks like. And this is how hidden they are. 2 whelks. Now, either somebody else has been here and picked this whole area completely clean and there's no whelks left, or else the whelks just haven't been bothered to come out because there's no sunshine to sunbathe in. And so in the really hot weather, all the whelks come to the surface and they're very easy to spot. And they sit on top of the rocks as if they're begging to be picked and taken to the south of Spain to be eaten by humans after 1,000 miles of uncomfortable travel. But similarly, I couldn't be bothered coming out today to do my worldly duties, to earn the money, to get the things that we all need in life, and to get the other things that we don't need at all. The additives, the addictions, all the things we say and don't do, all the things we intend to do and don't get around to, all the things we'd like to say to somebody if they were open to listen to it. But people have so much denial and are so busy talking their distractions that it's actually very hard to drive home a home truth. That's why a lot of people turn to meditation and think, well, I'll just internalize all of this stuff and try and at least have peace in myself. And in many ways, that's what I do with the whelk picking. Yep, I've got to meet the world standards and earn some money. But I find it very difficult to find an honest job. My dad was a builder and I'm skilled in building and carpentry and all kinds of things I'm skilled in, but it's very hard to find honest work that isn't having some sort of a negative side effect kind of thing. And okay, people like to eat whelks for some fucking reason. Posh people like to garnish their meal with something rare. And these whelks are not rare here. They're fucking everywhere. But they're rare in the south of Spain. So they get taken all the way from Scotland to the south of Spain. By the time they get to the south of Spain, they're rare. So nobody around here eats them anymore. A guy told me the other day that oysters used to be a poor man's food because they grew everywhere until they got overpicked and then they became rare. And when they became rare, people really wanted them. They were no longer a poor person's food, and that's how they got so expensive. The world is your oyster. Anyway, this is a very rambling video wandering around in semicircles and spirals, very randomly, looking to find something that could be useful, like information. I did computer science, and that's one of the algorithms, is to just dodge around completely randomly looking for information, like an albatross. It's a certain flight pattern. But it's a great way of finding stuff if you're fucking machine learning, because you're not just following the paths that you've already followed loads of times before, and you're not wasting loads of energy combing every square inch of a terrain. You're just randomly ducking here and there, here and there, here and there, here and there, and you see nature doing that all the time if you look to see nature, kind of thing. So I don't really like this, and yet at the same time I do. I was recording a little video earlier, and it turned out it wasn't recording. And then I realised it wasn't recording, and I was like, oh well. So I put the phone away, went to a different part of the beach. And the thoughts continued on, they just weren't being recorded. I was doing what I'm doing now, which is just saying the random stuff that's coming to mind, following some thread of my inner thoughts, but expressing it onto a video so people on fucking Facebook can listen to it and go, wow, that's interesting, or listen to it and go, I'm not listening to any more of this. This is just the ramblings of somebody who hasn't bothered to write a script, who's speaking off the cuff. La-di-da. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Now, the thing that is of kind of value, that's pre-scripted in me, is I'm quite aware of astrology. I keep listening in on that stuff. My subscribed videos on YouTube these days are pretty much only astrology videos, which is a bit boring for me, but it's a bit like reading newspapers. You get to pick up on some of the trends that are going on. And in astrology, this month of August is a month in which there are interplays going on in a square between Saturn and Uranus. Saturn, many truthers equate with the devil, restriction, limitation, manipulation, boundaries. And Uranus is further out away from the sun than Saturn. So Uranus and Neptune and Pluto are all big planets in our solar system that are beyond the control of Saturn. So a lot of you might want to take note of that. And the attributes of Uranus is sudden lightning strikes of inspiration, disruption, and change, and revelations. That's the point I'm mentioning today about the dream, is this morning's dream was quite a revelation in itself. Dreams are a Neptunian thing. In the interactions between Uranus and Saturn that are going on this month, they're reigniting themes that have been going on for the last couple of years. There's been this 3 times that Uranus has been square to Saturn, and this is a 4th time, but it doesn't quite hit the exact square. It gets to within half a degree of an exact square, but it never actually hits it this time. So that's the apparent retrograde of how it seems to be, that some of the planets can seem to be going backwards, going back on themselves in the sky from the perspective of Earth. Whereas obviously they don't actually go backwards in the sky, but it seems like that from Earth. And that says everything about perception. That seems to be is not actually what is. But that doesn't make it irrelevant, because everything's about perception. Thus, why we have life reviews in our purgatory after we die. Because when we die, what seems to be through the physical eyes and senses those eyes are forever closed and we no longer see through the personality veil. There's a veil over our perception. There's a lot of people take a lot of different types of drugs. Some people take some types of drugs in order to pierce that veil and see with a second sight. The eyes of spirit or the soul. I have at times been one of those people. But I met a healer when I was in my early 20s, when I used to smoke an awful lot of dope and where I had been taking magic mushrooms for nearly a decade already. And that lady did amazing healing work. And all she did was hold her hands above the body and kind of flutter them about as if she was winnowing thread or something. And the idea is that there are invisible threads in our auric field. And by taking drugs and drinking coffee and all kinds of toxic things that we can do, we can burn out those threads so they're no longer sensitive. And that's how an awful lot of people suppress themselves, by overtaking drugs, or with the allopathic drugs, painkillers. You're closing down those sensitivities of those threads so that you're no longer able to perceive or receive the subtle energies of subtle insights. She said to me that when you finish taking all of those drugs and no longer do so, eventually your inner sight becomes so clear that it's far clearer than those drugs seem to be allowing you to see. So eventually stopping taking the drugs that give you insight allow you to have far more insight consistently. And it's a long time that I'm off these drugs, medicines as the hippies might call them. And it's true, I live in a kind of constant revelations in my own perception, seeing subtle things that are almost impossible to describe, and hence why I might be wandering around on a beach filming what it's like to be picking little bits of value off the streets, like finding pennies on the streets. Each one of these I pick is worth basically a penny, and to earn 100 quid I've got to pick 1,000 of these, which is 6.5 stone in weight, which is about the most you can ever pick in a 4-hour stretch where the tide is out. And that's when you're picking frantically. This is the opposite of picking frantically. This is basically just picking because the process is a healthy process. Walking around on a really uneven surface that is really dangerous, where you could slip and twist your ankle, or slip and break your bum off a rock, or whatever, twist an ankle. And I like danger, because danger is not a problem so long as you're aware that it's dangerous, and therefore you can be extra careful. Being extra careful is obviously quite a handy talent to have in life. Anyway, here's 3 together. Anyway, Saturn, Uranus. Saturn is control, restriction, reining it back in. There are boundaries you cannot cross without repercussions. Repercussions, rhythms on a drum. Saturn is constricting. Uranus is outside of Saturn, and it is disturbing, it is sudden, it is unexpected, it is a revelation, it is insights. In my birth chart I've got Uranus exactly conjunct with Mercury, which means I have loads of mercurial thoughts that are way outside the norms of society or accepted fact or what Saturn knows. So all my life I've been inflicted with having ideas that are outside of what is generally known by society, that is ruled by Saturn. And that's the reason why I am so different that I don't even attempt to fit into society, because society doesn't let me in, because I disturb society with ideas that are outside the box. Such as making a video like this, which I'm sure could be quite disorientated to look at, because I'm not even watching what I'm filming. I'm just wandering around in circles. And if you were to try and make sense of the visuals, you're lacking any context. Here's a bit of context. There's the world of Saturn. Roads, stay in your lane. Speed limits, cops, fines, judges. I was walking around yesterday, picking furiously because it was a sunny day and there were loads of them everywhere, and contemplating all of the judgments that have been going on this year against myself by my brothers and extended family. Because the way I live is so far outside the box, they think that I must be dangerous, even to my own mother. And they've done everything they can to try and get some detail and say, this detail proves that you're dangerous. Look what you did on that day. Look what you said that month. Look how you were when you were a kid. And I'm having to field all these accusations in myself and winnow through it all and try and see, is there some truth in it? Because if there is some truth in it, then I can learn. And if I can learn, then hey, maybe I won't be so dangerous, and maybe I certainly won't get in so much fucking trouble. I won't end up in so many courts being accused of disturbing the peace. Which hasn't happened for quite a while, by the way, because I have been learning. Disturbing the peace just gets me in trouble, and maybe there's a deeper, subtler, better way of standing up to what's going on instead of going on with it and fitting in. And thus I'm communicating. Thus I'm starting to take my writings more seriously and to realise that people who praise me for my way of thinking are partially right. There is something great about the way I think. There's something great about everybody. We've all got something about us that's great, if we nurture it. If we get to know ourselves and learn how to express ourselves with some refinement. And every step makes up the journey. If you don't make some mistakes, you'll never learn what mistakes are, and you'll never learn to see the overall pattern of how mistakes happen. And then you'll never have compassion, and then you'll never have forgiveness. But yeah, I was walking along yesterday on the theme of neighbours, families, friends, judgments. And the question was, who are you to judge? And my imagining in that moment was being in a court, accused of whatever it is, and simply saying, like Jesus might, in that story, simply saying to the judge, who are you to judge? And what a shock that would be in a court, to simply say to the judge, I don't care what you say. All I'm going to say to you is, who are you to judge? What a shock. What a shocker to say something like that to a judge, who in the Saturnian system, everybody knows why a judge is to judge, because somebody has to judge. There has to be an overall authority, otherwise it's chaos. Otherwise the bad people get away with all the bad things. And there is no order. There are no speed limits. There are no MOTs, NCTs, there are no standards, there are no measures, there's no enforced honesty. Of course, honesty isn't really what's running the system, hence why you have all these so-called conspiracy theorists trying to figure out what's really going on. Because to anyone who can see outside the box at all, there's corruption. The world's truth is not the truth. The world's truth is corrupted. It's past-based. It's future fear. It's the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's bifurcation. It's the extremes get more extreme. So here we all are. We're all polarized between extremes. Closer to this end than that end, and it's not simply a dualistic world where there's a right and wrong, or I like this but I don't like that. There's a massive amount of multipolarities inside in all of our machine learning experience in our subconscious mind. The stuff that's going on inside the computer that you can't really see from looking at the screen. How are these digits creating these images that are capturing my imagination and informing my mind and making me think I know what I'm seeing, making me think I know how it's happening? Dreams. How come we don't remember all of our dreams when we wake up in the morning? How come we don't have a self-consistency between our dream self and our waking self? And how come most people don't even question any of it? Everything is taken for granted. Like a baby taking for granted that somebody will feed it, or like a baby taking for granted that it's been abandoned and is going to die of starvation and neglect. They're just two versions of the extremes. Painting pictures off the top of my head. The thing that I'm actually wanting to say this morning is the way I feel today is I feel as if something has happened in the inner veil. Now, I've been trying to fit in for the sake of my mother. I've been trying to recognize the expectations that the outside world has on any body, and any mind, and any feeling. And I recognize that everyone is guilt-based in their programming. I found this out through seeking knowledge, and I found this out through applying that knowledge to seeking myself in a purgatory sort of way, outside of life and yet living. What I sense today is that I'm no longer bound to try and fit into any expectations for the rest of my life. I recognize that the outside system is immoral, and I am sure that I am very moral in myself. Oh, I've just gone over my own footprint. I was here before. Maybe there's a whelk there that I didn't see before. Maybe there's not. That's Schrodinger's cat applied to whelk picking. That's quantum theory applied to whelk picking. It's relatively useless information unless you're a whelk picker, or computer scientist, or somebody who's just interested in learning and who realizes that maybe just reading the same books that everyone else has read because everyone else has read them thinking it must be a good book, or voting in politics because everyone else votes and thinking, well, voting must be the right way, or turning the other cheek when the government slaps you because everyone else is turning the other cheek. And so let's allow them to increase the price of electricity fourfold. Let's allow them to charge 60% tax on fuel, and when they put up the price just go, oh well, it's the war in the Ukraine. Let's just turn the other cheek. Or for all the rebels out there, let's just go renegade, because my friends are going renegade. Let's lose my old friends and make new friends in the renegade brigade. This is the point. Just because we all agree that the government is corrupt doesn't mean that we ourselves are not also corrupt. And this is the path of so-called spirituality, which might be better being called insight. Because spirit itself, our own souls, are corrupted. When I was younger, in my 20s, and lived in Glastonbury and went to see a friend who was able to do soul readings, back then I had the impression that because a soul is spirit, and therefore spiritual, that anything that was received from spirit level, soul level, was more true. And as time went on, me and this friend of mine, we did an awful lot of investigation. And what I found out through all that is that souls are corrupted. If you've lived lifetimes in which you did wrong things, it corrupts your soul. If in the purgatory after that lifetime you stay convinced by the patterns, and you just repeat the patterns lifetime after lifetime, you end up where we are now, thousands and millions of iterations of lifetimes later, with reinforced concrete beliefs on a soul level that are actually false. Beliefs about God, beliefs about creation, beliefs about other people, beliefs about caves, beliefs about animals, beliefs about eating animals, beliefs about self-defense, psychic self-defense. And all of that is stored in our subconscious, the aggregate of all our soul knowledge, the aggregate of all of our belief systems. And what I'm saying is, I believe this morning that Uranus is trashing the veil. And the veil is essentially the wool we put over our own eyes that makes us think that we're sheep, when really we are wolves. The wolf in sheep's clothing. We're all wolves in sheep's clothing. We've all got things going on inside which we ourselves are not even aware of, such as we are not really aware of how we think. We're not really aware of those cognitive processes. We're not really aware of our souls. We're not really aware of what we're in denial of. We're not really aware that it is our denial that is making most of our real world decisions on the day-to-day, and why we don't get around to doing the things we say we'll do, we think we'll do, we feel we should do. It's quite a rant, isn't it? Now, while I was wandering around there, I didn't stop to think until this moment, where's my fucking bag? One of the perils of whelk picking is that once the sea starts to come in to the shore, once the tide starts to come back in, once the tide has turned, it picks up the pace. Once it starts coming in, you have a false sense of security and think it's still on the turn, which is a couple of hours where it's not really going out and it's not really coming in, it's just staying out there. But once the tide begins to turn, it begins to move quite fast. So that tide has moved in about 20 foot in the time I've been wandering around recording this video. And in another 5 minutes, my bag of bags would have washed out to sea. And either I'd have to get completely soaked and embarrassed to get it back, or I'd have lost my bag of bags. Now, the turning of the tide. I've lost a lot of bags in the turning of the tide. Not here in the whelk thing. It's only happened maybe twice ever. But in my life, I've had incidences where the tide had actually turned. And while I was focused on the minutiae, on the tiny things I was concentrated on, I didn't notice that actually what was going out is now coming back. What appeared to be a pattern is now an anti-pattern. And I'm going to wrap this up by saying, feel free to do what you feel like doing. follow your instincts today. Find your freedom. Examine where it is that you've been lying to yourself out of compassion to others and not just speaking your truth. Because to be quite honest, to not speak your truth is to lie to yourself. And thus, apart from who are you to judge, the other thing I had in my mind yesterday big time was the greatest liars are lying to themselves. That's why they convince other people, is because they themselves are convinced that the lie they're telling is true. And this was again in respect to my brothers, and by reflection to myself. I've been trying to see how was I lying to myself and not seeing my own behaviors. How was I lying to myself by not examining what I had been told and taking for granted that because I at least try to be completely honest and open, that other people also try to be honest and open. And by thinking that other people are honest and open all the time and that that's their intent, I've been lying to myself and not recognizing there are plenty of people out there whose intent is to win, not to end war, but to be the victors, not to achieve inner peace, but to achieve outer control. And this has been laid bare in my own family since my dad died. And I believe that the war in the Ukraine is very parallel to what's been going on with my mum. There's a war in the Ukraine, and it's been pretended that it's a humanitarian war, that they're trying to save the population from the evil Putin, that the big gang of the UN are standing up to Putin in order to save a little country. But actually, all sides in that war are blowing fuck out of each other with bombs and weapons. And they're blowing fuck out of the Mother Earth herself. And why are they doing this really? Why are they bombing all these people they claim they're trying to save? It's because actually it's an economic war. They're fighting over the spoils of war. The special thing about the Ukraine is not any more special than anywhere else on Earth, except the economy is based on who controls the Ukraine. Each nation is fighting against the other nations. Some of the nations have ganged up together to say, well, united we stand, divided we fall. That's the United Nations. In my mum's case, pretty much the rest of my family have united to say we have to take my mum away from her own home so that we can take her inheritance and spend it for her. Because she doesn't know, she's delirious. She's not able to manage her own thoughts, her own beliefs. She's not able to manage her affairs or her finances. My mother is like the Mother Earth, the motherland. And these so-called responsible politicians are lying to themselves and the rest of the world, and maybe they even fucking believe it. But really, they're just taking control over resources with no feelings. And I resent that, but at least I finally understand that it is that simple. And I don't fit inside in that box. I'm not really too bothered about owning any resources at all. So, hence, coming out for a walk on the beach to pick maybe a pound's worth of whelks today. That's a good hour spent earning £1. There's nowhere near a pound there actually. Spending a whole hour to earn maybe 30p. And 3 cups of coffee and no breakfast. That's not really the way you're supposed to live, is it? That's not sustainable in a Saturnian world. So, one of my mum's phrases that she got from her mum, it goes back goodness knows how many generations. But it takes all sorts of people to make up the world, and they're all in it. Which kind of means that everyone is different. Everyone is different. So don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't waste any more energy trying to be like other people or be liked by other people, because people are essentially fickle. If you don't know yourself, you don't know when your own tide is going to change. You don't know when you're going to start believing the opposite of what you used to believe in a polarized world. And the terrain shifts from rocks to sand to seaweed to sea to road to noise to commerce. Bye bye.